Hello one and all, through Doc Stone, chapter 162, Down the Earth-Stained Path, and I just legitimately have to ask, how did the chapter about Chrome building a drill, Chrome, who thought the Earth was flat, Chrome, who didn't understand basic mathematics, Chrome, who thought that science was sorcery, built a high-powered drill this chapter, and Taiju was still the MVP. He still came out on top. He was still the best character in this entire chapter. How is that possible? How is Taiju that amazing? I mean, sure, he has a strength of 100 men, but still. He basically just said hi to Carlos and Max, the people who are spying on him, and then without speaking their language, convinced them to tag along with him because it'd be easier to spy on him that way. And then, when it was shown that he has absolutely no capabilities for driving, as he kept running into trees, let the spy, this person whose job it is to spy on him, drive his car right to the location of their other headquarters where their team is secretly planning on infiltrating the enemy base. How? How? Oh, just how? I freaking love you, Taiju. And then he got mad when they got there, and they tied up Carlos. They tied up the spy. He's like, why did you do that? Carlos is my friend. He's a cool dude who drove me here. Because he's a spy who would run right over to Dr. Zeno and tell him what we're planning? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. We also got some very interesting information about Carlos and Max. So Carlos is the driver, and Max is the bodyguard, which... yeah, I didn't see that coming. I mean, Max is this little short dude, and honestly, it looks like even I could beat him up. But I guess that's his job. I guess he has some sort of skills, capabilities. I mean, he did actually beat Carlos in this fight. I mean, he got a few knocks in his own head, but he did technically win the fight. And then, yeah, this is very small. I almost didn't notice it. He pointed a gun at Taiju this chapter. There is a gun in his hand pointed at Taiju. And yet, somehow, for some reason, Taiju, without speaking his language, by the way, yeah, they had this whole... that's another thing. This whole thing happened without any of them being able to understand each other. That's a whole other thing. Managed to convince the guy who was pointing a gun at him that they should be friends and that he should send his partner with him wherever the heck he's going in this weird car-like thing that's disguised like a giant monster. How? Taiju, what are you? And I guess Carlos's ability is definitely going to come in handy moving forward, having someone who's actually a skilled and capable driver, just getting around, you know, that's certainly something that could be very helpful moving around on land. I mean, on sea and air, they have Captain Rio, so no problems with that. But I guess on land, Carlos is more skilled than he is. I don't know. What exactly does it take to become the driver and bodyguard of a very important man's daughter? I've so many questions about his backstory. Anyway, it doesn't take very long for Carlos to decide, you know what, I'm going to join this team because they are freaking amazing. These guys are high schoolers. They're younger than Miss Luna. They are building a drill. I mean, seriously, just wait till he finds out that Chrome never even went to school. That he was, you know, literally raised in the Stone Age. And yet he's managing to do all this. But as he's watching them push themselves, build and grow and improve like this, he just cannot help but be amazed by what they're doing. He's even saying, this is ridiculous, give up, there's no way this is gonna work. And then it does. They actually build a freaking drill, which looks amazing, by the way more complex than I expected. And now they're gonna start tunneling their way into Zeno's castle. And apparently don't have to worry about the sound because Zeno's factory is running at full volume, which is making a whole lot of rackets. I mean, seriously, that must get really, really annoying. I mean, the houses are not all that far away from the castle, so they just have to deal with that loud factory running right behind them all day. That's definitely feels like it'd be an inconvenience. I think it'd make more sense to move the housing a little further away from the factory. I mean, sure, it's a little further to get to work or whatever, but still, I think it'd be a big, you know, improvement in their living conditions. Just saying. And I do absolutely love this shot of Chrome diligently, focusedly working on the schematics, trying to get it all right, trying to do all the calculations. It's just such a great shot of him. I absolutely love it. Anyway, now they have the drill and they're all set to go. And I do really just have to flash back for a second, point out Justking creating the spiral sword, way more complex of a shape than I was expecting for something like this. And everyone thought it was a weapon for impaling the guts of your enemies or eviscerating them. Even Kosuke thought it was a weapon meant for killing people, and our lovely porter had to explain them, dude, it's for digging through dirt. Favorite things I ever love this chapter, the opening, where it looks like Hyoga is attempting to murder Chrome so he can betray them and go run over to join Zeno's kingdom. But really, he's just using his 1,000-year-old spear technique, which has been passed down through the generations to dig a tunnel. And he's quite annoyed that the Kan-Ryu style has been defiled like this, but Kawaku, she actually praises him a little bit, describing it as a beautiful thing, moving forward stained by the earth itself. That's what diligent progress is, and it's very, very hard to read his expression, but I think he's actually a little pleased with that compliment right there. He looks amused. I also do love they brought back the whole Hexagon Map they built 2 chapters back to explain to Taiju where he's supposed to go, and it's looking like he has a lot of trouble understanding exactly. Honestly, it's kind of a miracle he managed to find Kawaku's team. Also love Taiju saying, Ryu says Luna's probably a spy. Yeah, you think? That's apparently some big news to him, but I don't care because she agreed to look after Senku, and that's all that matters to me. They won't treat her poorly, I promise. Of course, Carlos has absolutely no idea what he's saying because he doesn't speak Japanese, which, yeah, I just love they're finally really emphasizing what an issue the language barrier is. But he's like, I have no idea what you're saying, but it sounds comforting. I feel like you're a good guy. I'm sure that Luna's going to be okay. Anyway, finally, I just want to talk about the metal drill. It seems like, the top part's spinning, cutting through the earth, and metal plate here seems to be to keep any of the rocks that come flying from hitting the parts that can actually break. It's also apparently held up on these support beams. I assumed to be like on wheels, and they just keep pushing it forward down the tunnel, but this is interesting. That also means now they're going to have to keep making support beams. I guess they had to do that anyway. Actually, it is technically on wheels. I was trying to figure out before. Yeah, it's rollers, and so every beam they set up, it has to roll it from one beam to the next. Honestly, I think it would be easier just to put it on regular wheels instead of hanging it from the ceiling. I guess that might make it lighter this way or easier to push. I'm honestly not sure. But yeah, they're going to start digging their way through, and I'm curious exactly what the speed is going to be, how much progress they're going to make, what's going to be like moving forward. I mean, they're drilling. I guess while Taiju's drilling, the rest of them have to clear away the rock and debris that are piling up around his feet so that it doesn't, fill the tunnel up. No idea. No idea about any of that. I'm not an expert on drilling. I'm very sorry about that. Hey, and then Chrome repeats what Kwaku said earlier. We're digging all the way to the goal, one earth-stained step at a time. And hopefully they manage to make it to Zeno's castle before he finishes that ultimate weapon he has. I'm still going to say it's some sort of poison gas or sleep powder, whatever, like he explained to Senku how they put like a nerve agent inside his rocket and send it flying. He did the same thing. It's going to be rocket, it's going to send over, it's going to shoot out some whatever that's going to make all of Senku's team fall asleep so that they'll be helpless when Stanley's team comes in and takes them all out, captures them essentially. Also, I do just really love that they managed to win over Carlos without Luna's help. I mean, we've been saying for a while now, a lot of us have, that once, Luna switches sides, Carlos and Max can switch sides, she just has to, go outside and wave to them and say, Carlos, Max, I'm working with them now, you should too. They're like, of course, Miss Luna, whatever you want. That would have been way easier. But instead, they won over Carlos by just showing how hard they work, what they can accomplish, what they're capable of. And I'm fairly certain by next chapter, one after that, he's going to decide to switch sides. He's going to decide to give them a helping hand somehow, some way. They might want to keep him in shackles or something to make sure, doesn't run away back to Zeno and tell him what's going on. But I'm sure Taiju will trust him enough not to do that. But yeah, this is a really good chapter. Just love that Taiju managed to shine, even while they were building a giant freaking drill, and Chrome's doing his absolute darndest to make this all work. It just shows what an amazing character is, and honestly, how amazing every character in the series is. Every single one of them managed to shine their own way. That's just so amazing, especially given how huge this cast is. But yeah, link to all this down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video, and until then,
peace!